All right. Hey, everyone. I think we're live here. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our live stream today. So today we're going to be going over fingerstyle, right hand fingerstyle. That's kind of what makes it fingerstyle, right? Because right hand playing with your fingers. So that's what we're going to be going over today. But feel free in the chat to put any questions that you have, either about fingerstyle or anything in your playing or just anything in general. The general content of this live stream is right hand fingerstyle, but anything you want to bring up, we can look at too. And also, if you're not here live and you're watching the replay, as always, you can put your questions or comments in the comment section, and I'll be sure to look at those and try and address them in the next live stream. Or if there's anything that you want to see specifically covered as like the topic for a live stream, a more in-depth topic for the whole thing, let me know there as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. So let's take a look. So we'll mostly just be looking at the right hand. So what we're going to start with, so I know people are going to be listening and watching from a lot of different kind of backgrounds as far as like your experience with fingerstyle, but we're going to start with the basics of how to have a really good technique. And the reason why is because first of all, if you're a way beginner, you just want to start off with the right technique. And also, if you've been playing for a while, there might be things in your technique that you can fix to make it better. And the reason for having good technique is you can play easiest with the least amount of effort. That's the main thing. That's how you want to do, that's how you want to play on guitar overall, is you want to make it as easy as you can, as effortless as you can with the least amount of effort. And so we're going to look at some techniques to help you do that on the right hand. And people in general with right hand fingerstyle technique, there's some variations that you'll see people doing, and people can make different kind of techniques or different ways of playing. They can make it work and still sound really good. So this is not kind of like this is the only way to do it, but this is this is what I see as the best techniques that make your playing the most efficient and the easiest, and you can play the easiest. And you'll see that a lot of good players use this technique. So let's take a look. So you're in your right hand. Let's look at the thumb. Well, let's look at the placement first. So let's kind of check this out. So with your arm, you just want your arm to be resting on the corner of the guitar body, right there. And this is where your forearm rests. And this is where you get your stability from. So that way you don't have to rest fingers down here to try and get stability. You don't need to do that because that kind of limits your range of motion on your hand when you're kind of tied down with your fingers here. And the reason people do that usually is to try to get some stability. But your stability really comes from your arm resting right here, forearm resting on the corner. Okay, and then you want to have this kind of straight, pretty much straight angle here for your forearm. So not kind of down here or anything like that, just kind of straight. And your wrist, you don't want it bent up like this, and you don't want it bent like that in general when you're general playing. You just want it kind of straight like that. And go ahead and rest your thumb on the sixth string, and then you can put your index finger. And let's look at that too. On the right hand in fingerstyle, this really comes from classical, but they use it in fingerstyle that's not classical too. Um, the thumb, start with the thumb, is P, and that comes from the Spanish words for thumb, but we'll just stick with the letter P for now. So P is for thumb, and then I is for the index finger, M is for the middle finger, R is for the ring finger, and those are the fingers we usually use. Um, so we got P-I-M-A. Okay, so we'll kind of use those terms interchangeably with the name of the fingers. So let's put the thumb on the sixth string, the P, thumb, and then index on on the third string, and then the M, the middle finger on the second string, and the A, which is the ring finger, on the first string. So just like that. All right? And so you can see the thumb is kind of out in front. So just right in front. So it's not back here. And the reason why is when you're doing your index finger stroke, your thumb will get in the way if it's kind of back here. So you want to have it out more in front so it's not in the way. Okay, so let's just try a thumb stroke. So a thumb stroke is just going to go like this, just on that sixth string. So you can go ahead and try that out. And so you can see what's happening is we're moving from the big joint where your thumb connects to your hand. That's where we're trying to move your thumb from. So not from down here, so not kind of like that, but from up here. And the reason why is you get the most power and volume with the least amount of effort, like we were talking about, because you got all this leverage of this whole big joint moving your whole length of your thumb instead of just a little movement from here. So you can get louder sound with less movement. You'll find it barely needs not just less movement, but with less energy, less effort. And then you can see the thumb just kind of goes down the stroke the string and then comes out, down and comes out. And the reason it comes out is because you don't want your thumb to hit the next string by accident, right? And then let's look at the finger strokes. The finger stroke technique is the same for each finger. So watch what happens here. So you want your finger to just go straight back into the hand, just like that. You don't want your finger to do this, where it's kind of pulling out. You don't want it like plucking out. You want it more like a stroke. That's why we call it a finger stroke. And the reason you do that is you get all kinds of power with less energy. You're going to kind of see that topic keep coming back in. Because you're moving from this big knuckle and you're moving the whole finger like that. In that motion, it's kind of as if you were using your foot to like kick a ball. It's like you're using your whole leg. If you use your whole leg to kick a ball, you have all this power. But when you do this instead, it's a different motion. It's like you're lifting something up. That'd be like if you're bending down to lift something up. You can't have as much power and strength with when you're going against gravity and lifting something straight up, right? That's what's happening here if you do this. It's like you're lifting up. The finger in the hand doesn't have as much strength doing that kind of movement. Our hands haven't evolved to do that, right? But they have evolved to do this. Our hands are really good at grasping things. That's kind of the physics of the hand is made to do that naturally, so it's easy and strong with small amount of effort. So we're taking advantage of that motion like this to stroke the strings. That's how we're playing. We're not doing this because our hands are not really made to do that very well or strong. So try that out. Try your pointer finger in like that, and then see if you can make it move from the big knuckle and move just straight into your hand. So make sure you're not kind of going sideways like that or anything like that with your fingers twisting. Make sure it's going straight into your hand, just like your hand would curl. Your fingers would curl into your hand if you were to just close your hand just like that. Okay? And then your finger strokes on that left side of the tip of the finger. That's where you want the finger to stroke, as on the left side of the tip. And it's going to touch the flesh part and then the nail. The flesh and then the nail. Okay. All right. And then you can also see what's happening. And just to kind of stop here, I know this seems like a lot of stuff, but at the beginning, you kind of got to get all these technique kind of things down. And this maybe is not necessarily the fun part, although I think it's kind of cool, getting everything figured out and playing right. But you do want to spend time doing this, because if you get this right, then your fingerstyle is going to be all set up. You can play everything you want to play really easy. Right? It's going to be all nice and smooth and easy if you get this right here from the beginning. So that's why we're spending all the time going over this. And just so you know, we're going to get to some different finger patterns, fingerstyle patterns. We'll look at the Travis picking pattern. If we have time, we're going to try and look at a song that uses that pattern. So we're going to get to some other things, but we just got to get the technique down here first. And what's nice about the live streams is if you don't get everything while you're watching live, you can also, there's the replay. You can go back and just watch again and watch as many times as you need and pause the video, try and get that technique right. So let's look at the pointer finger again, index finger, the eye finger, and you see how it's going straight into the hand. You can see the motion is kind of like straight back into the arm and the hand. And it's like this diagonal motion too, you can see. Like the direction that it's stroking the string is diagonal, like that, kind of like it's slicing 45. So not up and down like this. So we're not stroking like that. You're stroking diagonal like that, going this way. So make sure that's the way your arm and your hand is set up, and that's the way your finger goes. If you get everything set up right, it's just natural to move that way. And then you make your finger go into your hand like that. Make sure it's going into your hand. And now let's try the same thing on the on the middle finger, the M finger. Okay, so same thing is it's going straight into the hand, moving from that big joint, touching on the left side of the tip of the finger. And for now, what we're doing, whatever fingers, including the thumb, that we're not using, we're just resting them on the strings. This is a good way to start. so you have some stability, but eventually when you're playing songs, the other fingers won't be resting on the strings all the time. They'll be hovering above. But for now, we'll go ahead and have the other fingers that are not playing, they can just be resting. Okay, and then ring finger, the A finger, same thing, moving straight back into the hand, just like that. Left side of the tip of the finger, okay? So try it one more time with the thumb, and then the index, and let's do the middle, and then the ring, okay? All right, so now we're gonna try out a couple things. So let's try playing. So on your left hand, you can go ahead and play E minor chord. And we can just look at that real quick, just a reminder, just in case you're a brand new beginner and you haven't done your E minor chord yet. Let's look at what E minor looks like. So E minor, you can put your pointer finger on the 5th string and the 2nd fret, and your middle finger on the 4th string right below it on the 2nd fret. So that's the chord we're going to play while we're doing this in the right hand. So let's get back to the right hand while you're playing that E minor chord. Okay, so while you have the while you have the E minor chord going, we're going to do a little arpeggio. So with your thumb, play the 6th string, and go ahead. Yeah, you can rest your pointer, middle, and ring on the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings for now. So thumb plays the 6th string, then we're going to play the 5th string, and then the 4th string, and now your index does this 3rd string, middle 2nd string, ring 1st string. Okay, so let's just try that again. So thumb on the 6th, thumb on the 5th, thumb on the 4th, thumb on the, sorry, index on the 3rd, middle 2nd, ring on the 1st. So that's just a nice arpeggio, E minor arpeggio. Okay, all right, and if you're a little bit not as much beginner and you've kind of done this before, you can do a little bit harder version. You can just play through it quick. You can go, so you can get it nice and smooth all the way through. Okay. All right, so that's one thing you can try is doing arpeggios with different chords. You can try other chords. I'm doing a G chord right now. So this is for if you're not quite an absolute beginner, you can try doing the same thing while we're doing this together. You can try doing other chords too. Let's see if it can change between the chords. Right, so that's a good little exercise to do. Just testing that your right hand is doing all those things we looked at. And then let's also look at another thing you can try out is changing between strings a little bit more, not like an arpeggio. So you can go 6th string, 3rd string, 6th string, 3rd string, kind of thumb, index, thumb, index. That's a good exercise to try. And just for time's sake, we're just going to move through these a little quick, but these are just giving you some ideas of things to try when you're kind of learning your finger style. Or if you played for a while but you want to practice your technique, these are real simple ways that you can just practice your technique a little bit. And then you can go 6th, 2nd string, 6th string, 2nd string, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, and you go 6th, 1st string with the thumb, ring, thumb, ring. It's the A finger. Okay, so those are a few exercises you can try. But let's look at now some picking patterns. So these are some kind of common patterns you can do. So let's keep the E, go back to the E minor chord. If you were on some other chords, let's go back to the E minor chord. And we're going to go, right? So you can go thumb on the 6th, index on the 3rd, middle on the 2nd, ring on the 1st. And you can do that as slow as you need to. If this is brand new, then you can go really slow. Checking your technique the whole time. And if you're past that, you can just try it faster. Just see how fast you can get it, but keeping the good technique. And that'll depend on you and where you're at. Don't go faster than you need to. It's not really a race. It's just kind of trying out and pushing your boundaries. It's okay. So that's one pattern. And again, you can try that on different chords. You can switch to a G chord in the left hand, E chord, back to the E minor. Have a nice little pattern there. That's something you can try out on all kinds of different chords. Just try doing that arpeggio pattern right there. And then now we're going to try another example. We're going to switch it around a little bit. Now we're going to go, so back on the E minor chord on your left hand, and we're going to go thumb now to the first string, and the second string, and the third string. So now we're kind of just reversing it, like a little reverse arpeggio. Thumb, ring on the first, middle on the second, index on the third. And do it again as slow as you need to. If you're really new, or this is still a tricky technique, you can do it really slow. Slow as you need to, really trying to check out the technique there. And again, if you're more already comfortable with this, you can try it faster. And again, you can try that on other chords. Okay, and then we'll try another little variation here. All right, let's get that here. Try another little variation. So now we're going to go back to the E minor again. You're going to go thumb, middle, pointer, ring on the 6th, 2nd, 3rd, 1st strings. So now we're kind of just alternating this pattern a little bit to have a different sound. And again, if you're more comfortable, you can try a bit faster. So it's got kind of a nice different sound. And again, you can try different chords. Go to a G chord, C chord, whatever chord you like. I'm just giving some examples. But just the idea that you have one pattern in your right hand. And with that one pattern, you try it on different chords, and all of a sudden it starts to sound really nice. All right, so then let's try one more variation on that little arpeggio. So back to the E minor chord on your left hand. Now we're going to go thumb, ring, index, middle, kind of the opposite of the one we just did. Thumb, ring on the first, index on the third, middle on the second. Just another little variation. Change chords again. Right, so those are just some nice arpeggios you can try, different patterns. But let's look at something called, this is another pattern, fingerstyle pattern, but it's a really common one that's used a lot, especially in like a lot of kind of folk music, folk acoustic fingerstyle music, and country acoustic style music, and even pop styles use it too. So this is called Travis picking, and it's named after Merle Travis. I'm not sure if he actually started it or not. I'm not sure. I wasn't there, but he's known for kind of really developing this pattern and kind of spreading it widely. And Chet Atkins learned from him this pattern, and he spread that pattern even more widely. And now, lots of different players use it. Tommy Emmanuel, and lots of other players too. So it's a really common one that I know you've heard before. It's got this alternating bass. So in my left hand, I'm going to do a C chord, just basic C chord is what I'm doing in my left hand. But in the right hand, what's going to happen, you're going to see the thumb is going to be going like this. That's kind of the hallmark of the Travis picking. And then it's going to have other notes with it. First, now we'll start really basic. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But you can just see how the thumb is going. So that's the basic Travis style pattern, that alternating bass, while you got other melody notes, or other notes going with the other fingers. So the way you can play that, this basic one, is go thumb on the 5th, since we're doing a C chord, thumb on the 5th, middle on the 2nd, ring, we're alternating the thumbs, so we're going to go thumb on the 5th, middle on the 2nd, thumb on the 4th, index on the 3rd. So your middle finger is still doing the 2nd string, index finger is still doing the 3rd string, but you're just kind of alternating the thumb back and forth. So you're going to go thumb, middle, thumb, index. On the 5th string, 2nd string, 4th string, 3rd string. Try that real slow at first. Slow as you need to. Even if you have to go really slow. And actually going really slow when you're learning something, this is so important. We'll talk about this in other live streams and other places too, but that's the way you learn. You learn it really slow. And top players and musicians, they all know this. This is not, something I'm just making up or just found out. This is just something that everybody who knows how to play really well, they learn this way. You got to learn really slow. If you can play it really good slow, then you can play it fast. So do that here too. If you need to go really slow, that is totally fine. Do it until you get it comfortable. And then once it's comfortable, then you can do it a little bit faster. And if you already kind of have a little bit of good fingerstyle technique or you've played for a while, you can try it a bit faster. It's not a speed technique, so you're not going to go much faster than that probably. Probably something more like that. And you can try changing chords. So you can just go like C to an A minor. B minor, just try out different chords. Depending on your level, you can experiment a little bit as we're going through this. So that's the basic Travis picking. And then let's take a look at another variation. Let's see, actually, let's look at another one here. Let's do a little variation here where now we're not going to go right to the middle finger. We're going to have a little pause, or not a pause, but we're not going to add another note right there. So this one's going to go like this. So you can hear that very first note of the pattern on the first beat. It's held out without any other notes, so it kind of stands out. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so to look at that one really slow, the basic pattern is the same in the right hand. You're going to go thumb, but now we're skipping the extra note, so you go right to the next thumb, and then index. So that's the first part. Thumb on the 5th, thumb on the 4th, index on the 3rd. And then after that, you go thumb on the 5th, middle on the 2nd, thumb on the 4th, index on the 3rd. So the second part is like what we did earlier. Okay, that's the same, but right before that, we're just adding this in front of it. Okay, so there's two parts. The first two beats is the first part. Here's the first part. Here's the second part. So do it one more time. Here's the first part. Here's the second part. And then we put those together. Okay, and you can practice that as much as you need, but when you put it together at a good tempo, that kind of nice held out first note stands out. And you can change chords. All right, so that's another one. And then since we're getting short on time here, let's go ahead and let's skip ahead a little bit and let's try a little bit of the song Dust in the Wind, which I'm sure a lot of you probably know. It's a really famous fingerstyle song. And if you're not familiar with it, you can go ahead and take a listen. It's a really nice song for fingerstyle, for sure. And it uses the Travis pattern, the Travis picking pattern with the alternating bass. So we're not going to do the whole song. We'll just look at little parts of it. So the first part, that's literally that pattern we were just doing, right? Just kind of the first part repeated, but it's just got some extra notes in here. So let's just look at that part. So you're on a C chord on your left hand, and on your right hand, we're going to change one thing a little bit. So the thumb is still going to alternate the bass, but this first part, you can do the thumb and the middle at the same time. So that's something you can practice even on its own, a little exercise, trying that. Make sure you still have the good technique where your thumb does the good thumb stroke and your middle finger does that good index stroke, like that. So that's how we're going to start. Thumb on the 5th, index on the 2nd, do those together. And then you're going to go thumb 4th, index 3rd. Okay, so that's the first part. Thumb in middle, thumb, index. And then, on the next beat, it's that basic pattern that we learned earlier. So then that's thumb, middle, thumb, index on the 5th, 2nd, 4th, and 3rd strings. So let's put that together because that is the pattern for the whole song, actually. This whole song has just got a lot of different chords, or even not even a lot of different chords, variations of chords, little alterations of chords, just a few basic chords, really. It's mostly C and A minor type chords, C and A chords with alterations on them. But the right hand is doing almost the same thing the whole time for the most part. It's just doing this first part. That's the first part of the pattern, and then the second part. All right, so you put those together. So it's the first part, thumb in the middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index. And the rhythm is like 1 E and 2 E and da 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 da. So make sure that part at the beginning, this lasts a little bit longer. Da 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 da. And do it as slow as you need to. And then basically we're just going to change the chords. So I'm just going to show you a full view here so you can see me doing the chords, but the right hand is going to be doing the same thing. You just do that pattern on one chord, and then you just change to the next chord, but the pattern is the same for the next chord. So you start on a C chord, and then you're going to do a C major 7. C major 7 from C is really easy. Just take off your pointer finger. Not like that. I kind of exaggerated it to show you, but just lift it off. So you got the C with the pattern, and then take off the pointer finger, C major 7 with the pattern. Okay, you put those together. And then you're going to go to C add 9, which means it's like a C, but now you're adding the 9th note, which is also the same as the 2nd note, a D. A little bit of music theory there for you, which makes it a C add 9 chord, which just means you're adding your pinky on the 2nd string, on the 3rd fret. And then you do the same pattern again. Okay, so that's the C add 9, and then you go back to the C. So we put all those together. You start on the C, do the pattern once. C major 7, take off your pointer finger, do the pattern. Pinky on the 2nd string, it's the C add 9, and then back to the C. And if you put that all together, okay, that's nice and slow, more closer to the tempo of the song. So that pattern sounds nice when it's a bit faster. But even though it sounds nice a little bit faster, make sure you're doing it really slow first. First, you gotta get it down really good slow. Okay, so I think that'll be good for today for right hand fingerstyle. Hope you got some good technique there. So you can practice your technique and refine it if you've already been playing for a while. Get it as good as you can. Try some of those patterns out. You can try the song, and that last pattern we were looking at, you can try it on all kinds of different songs. So, and different chords, changes and chord progressions. So did want to let you know, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And for these live streams, you can click the little notification button so you get notified when the next live stream is coming up. And feel free to put in the comment section on the replay or in the live chat anything you want to see in any of the other live streams that are coming up, or any comments or questions that you have. And if you're ever interested in any lessons, I give one-on-one lessons. There's a link in the description where you can